My neighbor Frank called me at 8 that evening. "Hal," he said, "I just left the rec board meeting." I asked him what happened. He said, "They're voting to sell the pool. Your grandson made the pitch." I sat down slow in my kitchen chair. My chest went tight. Nobody had put a price tag on that pool before. Before I tell you what happened at that meeting, let me know in the comments where you're watching from tonight. If you've ever watched someone try to sell off a place that saved your family, hit that like button. Subscribe to The Forgotten Father. This channel is for people who built things quietly and let the results speak for themselves. My name is Harold Doyle. Most folks call me Hal. I am 76 years old. For 28 years I've shown up most mornings to skim leaves and check the chlorine levels at the Doyle Community Pool. I unlock the gate before sunrise. I coil the lane ropes before the swim team arrives. Most people who see me in that old lifeguard windbreaker think I'm just the maintenance man who never left. They aren't wrong exactly. They just don't know the rest of it. My wife Marion drowned almost in this very town as a girl, back before anyone taught swimming lessons out here. She survived, barely, pulled out by a stranger who happened to be walking past. She spent the rest of her life terrified of water. She was determined that no child in this county would ever go without lessons. When the old quarry pit flooded and the county wanted to fill it in, Marion and I bought the land instead. We built the pool ourselves, plank by plank, and put it into a charitable trust bearing her maiden name, Ridgway. No single person could ever close that pool without a fight. I remember the afternoon we broke ground. Marion stood at the edge of that old quarry pit with her arms crossed, watching the first truck of gravel arrive. She told me that day she didn't want a monument. She wanted a place where every kid learned to swim before they turned 8, free of charge, no exceptions. We built that promise straight into the trust that founded the pool. Free lessons every June, no forms, no waiting list. Almost nobody outside our own family ever knew that rule was hers. Marion passed 9 years ago this winter. I kept the pool running exactly the way she always wanted. Free June lessons. Lane time for the high school team at no cost. I never sat our grandson Tyler down to explain the trust or the deed behind it. He was still a boy when Marion and I set the whole thing up. Tyler grew up, went into local government, and landed a seat on the county recreation board 2 years back. He calls most Sundays. I'm proud of him, even when his votes make my stomach turn. About 4 years ago, the pool nearly went under on its own. A new county budget cut recreation funding almost in half. I sat with the treasurer one night, and the numbers looked bleak. I nearly let the whole place go quiet, the way tired old men sometimes do. Then a young man in his 20s stopped by one afternoon. He told me the free June lessons had kept him and his little sister safe on a rough lake trip years earlier. He had no idea I'd built the pool myself. He just wanted to thank whoever kept those lessons free. I refinanced my own house that same month to keep the pumps running. Frank told me the board had scheduled an emergency vote that very night to approve selling the land to a developer. He didn't know yet that the board member presenting the sale was my own grandson. I put on my jacket and drove to the county building. I slipped into the back row of the meeting room, the same way I've slipped into the pool office 1,000 mornings before sunrise. Tyler stood at the podium in a crisp shirt, clicking through a slide deck. He called the pool an aging liability with unsustainable upkeep costs. He said the county would benefit far more from a private sale and the tax revenue that would follow. A board member asked who currently held the deed. Tyler said, "It's tied up in some old family trust. We've been negotiating informally with the trustee." He said it so easily. He had no idea the trustee was sitting 6 rows behind him in a folding chair. I listened to my grandson describe his grandmother's whole life's work as an aging liability. Something old and tired rose up in my chest. Not sharp anger, the quiet kind that comes from watching someone erase a person you loved without even realizing it. I stood up. I walked to the front. I didn't raise my voice. I never have needed to in this county. Everyone in that room learned to swim in that pool at some point. I set a folder on the podium next to Tyler. Inside it was the original trust charter, and a photograph of Marion standing at the edge of that old quarry the day we broke ground. "I'm the trustee," I said. "Harold Doyle. That pool belongs to the Marion Ridgway Memorial Trust. It's named for your grandmother. She built it so no child here would ever go without a lesson." Tyler turned toward me slowly. His face moved through three things at once: confusion, then recognition, then something like the floor giving way beneath him. "Grandpa?" he said, barely above a whisper. The whole room heard it anyway. I told the board the truth plainly. I told them Marion built that pool from nothing, with everything we had, after nearly losing her own life to that same water. I told them the trust exists for exactly one reason: so no family member could sell it out from under this county on a whim. I wasn't angry when I said it. I didn't need to be. 28 years of quiet mornings did that talking for me. The board tabled the sale that night. Tyler didn't say a word to me on his way out. He left through the side door before the gavel even fell. He called me 3 nights later. Not with an apology at first. He told me about the pressure from the county to close a budget gap fast. The way this sale had looked like an easy answer to problems he'd never once mentioned to me. I told him plainly I would have helped if he'd simply asked, instead of pitching his own grandmother's memory without knowing it. We talked a long while that night, longer than we had in years. He asked quietly if he could come by the pool properly. Not as a board member reviewing an asset, as Marion's grandson. He came the following Saturday. I walked him through the old equipment room where Marion once kept the very first lesson rosters. I showed him a photo of her standing waist deep, teaching a class of 8-year-olds to float. He stood at the edge of the water a long while, watching the morning light move across the surface. He didn't fix everything overnight. Within a month, though, he'd pulled the sale proposal entirely off the board's agenda. He came back with a different plan instead. A small repair fund from his own savings to fix our cracked deck tiles and old filtration system. He didn't ask for his name on anything. He just wanted it done right, the way his grandmother would have wanted it. I still show up most mornings to skim leaves and check the chlorine before sunrise. Most folks in this county still just see the old maintenance man, and that suits me fine. The charter still carries Marion's maiden name, held in trust exactly as we set it up decades ago. Marion never got to see this. She never got to see her grandson finally understand what that pool truly meant. But every child in this county still learns to swim for free every June, just the way she always wanted. I didn't fight for that pool for credit or a headline. I fought for it because it was the last place I could still feel close to her. I wasn't going to let anyone, not even our own grandson, take that away without a fight. If tonight's story moved you, hit subscribe and stay with us here at The Forgotten Father. Tell me in the comments. If you found out someone you loved was about to sell off the place that saved your whole family, would you have stayed quiet in the back row? Or walked up with the charter the way I did? I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for spending this evening with me. I'll see you in the next story.